Welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at Getaway Driver. This is a two-player tile placement city building game where you take the role of either the getaway driver or the police on a chase through the town. If you're the getaway driver, you're going to be using your skills and your stunt cards trying to make it to the last tile or the escape town. If you are the police, you are going to be using your skills and reinforcements to either corner the driver where they have no more moves or catch the driver by getting your meter to red. Now that we know what the winning conditions are, let's take a look at the components setup and how gameplay works in Getaway Driver. Now let's take a look at the components. You have the game bag for tiles, your city tiles, which is comprised of your start tile, your escape tile, and then regular city tiles that have a green light, a yellow light, or a red light. You have your pursuit meter and driver reference, your pursuit token, your stash tokens, police enforcement tokens, your driver cars in blue, red, and white, your patrol cars, barricades, police motorcycle, armored car, helicopter, hazard tokens, and finally your tire spike token. Your police reference, and then your cards. You have your driver cards, your police upgrade cards, event cards, terrain obstacles, and finally your rule book. Now let's take a look at the setup. Setup takes 12 steps. There are 5 driver and 7 police steps. Step 1, place the pursuit meter and pursuit token in front of the driver. You'll place the pursuit token on white. Step 2, the driver is going to select 5 driver cards and return the rest to the box. Make sure to keep them secret, and if it's your first time playing the game, there is a recommendation for the driver cards to select in the rulebook. Step 3. The driver is going to scatter 5 stash tokens on the table. Keep in mind that this is a real space game, so edges of the table are as far as the city goes, and natural as well as terrain obstacles must be maneuvered around during the game. Step 4. Place the police reference card in front of the police player. Step 5. The police player will now take the escape city tile, vehicles, barricades, tire spike token, hazard tokens, and place them near the police reference card. Step 6. The police player will take the police enforcement tokens and create a pool to the side. Step 7. The police player will take all police upgrade cards into their hand. Step 8. The police player will now adjust the stash tokens that were scattered so that they are 1 to 2 card lengths away from each other. Step 9. The driver player is going to place the Start City tile, making sure that they do not place this tile on a stash token. Step 10. The driver player is going to place the driver car facing any direction on the start tile. Step 11. The police player is going to place the remaining city tiles in the bag. And then finally, step number 12. The police player is going to place a single patrol car 2 tile spaces away from the driver car facing any direction. Now let's take a look at the gameplay. Rounds consist of 3 phases. The police expand their search, the driver makes their escape, and the police close the net. Now let's take a look at each one of those phases in detail. Phase number 1, police expand their search. This is where the police will draw, look at, and place city tiles face down that fill up the places in front, to the left, and the right of the driver car. If one of these tiles would go on a stash token, place the stash token on top of that face down tile. So since the driver in the beginning of the game has no tiles in front to the left or the right, the police will draw and place 3 regular city tiles. They would get to choose and place them face down. When placing tiles, there are 4 types of tiles. There are regular green light tiles that represent clear roads and are great for the police to pursue the driver car. There are midtown tiles, which are green light tiles that give abilities to the driver. There are yellow light tiles that are flexible and are good for the driver. The driver could choose to place a hazard token and spend one of their stunt cards if they choose. And then finally we have the red light tiles, which can be difficult for both the police and the driver because the police cannot travel through red light tiles and the driver has to use a stunt card to go into a red light tile. When a tile is revealed that has a badge and a number, the police would gain enforcement tokens equal to that number. So, what we've drawn right here are 1 yellow and 2 red lights. Also, when a tile is revealed, if the driver moves onto one of those tiles, if it's a red light, you would place a hazard token. The yellow light, the driver would choose whether to place a hazard token. You would not place a hazard token on a stash token tile. And then if it has a police vehicle, barricade, or tire spikes, you would also not place a hazard token. Police vehicles that go onto tiles that have hazard tokens crash and are removed from the city. When there are no more tiles left in the bag to draw, the escape town is placed and the driver wins. That brings us to phase 2. The driver makes their escape. This is where the driver performs 2 to 3 actions. First, study the road, which is an optional action. The driver can turn over 1 or more city tiles to peek at that city tile without having to move to that tile, and then they must advance the pursuit meter 1 space. So in this case, if they wanted to peek at the tile with the stash token, they would have to move the token 1 space on the meter. If at any point this gets to red, the driver is captured. The second action is to move the car. The driver must move left, right, or in front. If they move to the side, they must orient their car accordingly. If the driver doesn't have a legal move, then the police win and they are captured. It's good to keep in mind that if the driver's on the same tile as the police eventually could move 90 degrees to pursue the driver, but not 180 degrees. So in this case, the driver moves onto the farmer's market tile with the stash token. They would then take the stash token, and since it had a stash token, no hazard token is placed on that tile. And then finally, the third action for the driver in phase 2 is to deal with the road conditions. They would place a hazard token based on the tile, and the driver then would use a stunt card matching the tile to get around the hazards. If the driver couldn't use a stunt card to maneuver around the hazards, they would have to move back 1 space. If there are any police pursuing that vehicle and they moved into a hazard tile, the police vehicle would crash and go back to the pile to the right of the police reference card. And then that brings us to phase 3. Police close the net. This is where the police perform up to 3 actions. First, move any non-pursuing police vehicles. If a police vehicle is located on the same tile as the driver card, it is considered in pursuit. So, with this step, you'll move any non-pursuing police vehicles 1 space left, right, or forward, or turn 90 degrees on the same tile, or they may choose not to move. When moving non-pursuing police vehicles, you must be less than or equal to 2 city tiles away from the last place city tiles. Anytime a police vehicle moves to a city tile with a hazard, they crash and are removed from the city, unless the police player can play a card to prevent that from happening. So in this case, the police would pull onto the tile with the driver car. The second action is to check for pursuing vehicles. If any police are on the same tile as the driver, the pursuit meter goes up. If there are no vehicles pursuing the driver, move the meter 1 to the left. And then finally, the third action is to purchase upgrades, which is optional. Police may spend reinforcement tokens gained from revealing those city tiles with badges to purchase any of their upgrades. The cost on the upgrade is in the bottom right corner of each of the upgrade cards. This also tells you the effect next to the cost. The stash tokens allow you to reuse a driver's card. Once you use a driver's card, you would place it in a discard pile. And then if you wanted to use it again, you would have to pay a stash token. Then rounds would continue until either the pursuit meter goes to red, the driver has no legal moves, or the escape town tile is placed. If the meter goes to red, or there are no legal moves for the driver, the police win. And if the escape town tile is placed in the city, then the driver wins Getaway Driver.